All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our topic today, which is Medicaid no spend down required for couples and for singles. Hi, my name is Lynn St. Louis, and I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney here at ELG Estate Planning. And I am happy that you're joining me today. You know, for a lot of our clients, their biggest concern is what happens to them, to their finances, if they should need long-term care, particularly expensive long-term care. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. As elder law attorneys, this really is our area of practice. It's especially Medicaid. Medicaid is a really confusing area, and that's what we are going to be talking about. I'm going to be sharing with you information and even some examples of how to avoid spending all of your money down on long-term care, or even having to spend down your money to qualify for Medicaid. So, and that's what our topic today is. If you have questions and you are on the Zoom, feel free to type them into the chat, and I definitely will answer those before we're done today. And if you are joining us on Facebook, go ahead and put your questions in, and they will be conveyed to me magically and put in the chat so I can answer those as well. So, all right. So, as I mentioned, the topic is Medicaid no spend down. Why am I talking about Medicaid? Well, the reason for that is that Medicaid is the primary payment source for long-term care in the United States. That's where most nursing homes are paid through Medicaid. Now, how do people typically pay for their long-term care? Usually people start paying through their own income and their own assets, and oftentimes people rely on family members to help out. Totally understandable. As long-term care typically is something that isn't static, that it continues and it progresses and it gets more and more and more. So I'm guessing that there probably are a few of you who are listening that have been a long-term care provider yourself for a family member, or have experienced long-term care in your family. I know I did in my family. Between my mom and dad, we experienced 14 years of long-term care. So that's quite a long haul in long-term care. So that's part of the reason I'm so passionate about helping clients and sharing information, this type of educational information with everybody, so that you have that to help you if you are dealing with long-term care event for yourself or for a loved one. So how do you pay for long-term care? Typically, people pay for it out of their own resources. What I'm hoping to convey to you today is that's not the only or necessarily the best way. Maybe when you're starting, but at some point in time, if you're facing skilled nursing at $12,000 a month, or even as adult family home or assisted living, that can be 5, 6, 7, 8,000, especially if it's memory care. People run through their resources pretty quickly if that's the case. If you have long-term care insurance, fantastic. That will help pay for long-term care. I have to tell you, most people don't. There's also a benefit through the VA. One of them is called aid and attendance, and that provides a stipend, which can help with long-term care. Or if you're a veteran and you have a service-connected disability, and it's a certain amount, then or percentage rather, then your long-term care may be paid for by the VA. That's not what we're talking about today. I just want to make sure you're aware that there is a VA benefit. And of course, if you have long-term care insurance, that's a benefit as well. How about Medicare? Will Medicare pay for your long-term care? No, it won't. There is a misconception or a misunderstanding about Medicare. Medicare is an insurance-based program. You turn 65, you get Medicare, it'll pay for hospital, doctor's visits, etc. Of course, you'll have your supplemental to pay for things that aren't covered by Medicare. Now, sometimes people think that Medicare pays for their long-term care expenses because of this. If somebody goes into a hospital and they're admitted and they're for 3 midnights, and then after they leave the hospital, they can't go home, they have to go to a rehab facility, then Medicare will pay for up to 100 days in a rehab facility. So let's say somebody has a stroke, they're in the hospital, they can't go home because they need rehab, they need occupational, physical therapy, speech therapy, they'll go to a rehab facility. Medicare will pay up to 100 days. For the first 20 days, they may pay the entire amount. After 20 days, it's a copay situation. But that's not long-term care, that's rehab. And let's say the person got the full 100 days at the rehab facility and then they can't go home. They have to stay at a skilled nursing facility because they can't go home. That's going to be private pay. Medicare stops. How are you going to pay? It's either going to be through your own resources, your long-term care insurance if you have it, or likely through Medicaid. So don't get confused to think that Medicare is what you can rely on for your long-term care, because that is not true. That's a misconception.